beautiful. I can probably bet right now that you never thought you would actually be receiving an email, a notice, a video on infidelity. Infidelity is probably the last thing that you wanted to ever deal with in your life. You never even planned on it, right? No one ever writes that up in their plan of life. I know I didn't. Yet at least 40% of relationships now are experiencing it. 40%. That's staggering. And a lot of that is within the church. And even more common than one thinks would be that too many are going through life walking around as wounded individuals, hurting all the time. You dread the future. You have this wound that no one sees because betrayal is the trauma that is invisible. No one truly sees that kind of trauma. And it brings about with it isolation, shame, and embarrassment. We're embarrassed because it's happened to us. And so much emotion is associated with it. And to navigate all the emotions, well, that's even more difficult. Not to mention that there are all of these huge questions on what do I do now? Can I ever trust him again? Will we ever heal from this betrayal? And can I even trust myself again? It is quite challenging to walk this path alone, beautiful. And that is exactly why I created Beauty Beyond Betrayal, a roadmap to recovery, God's way. This is God's roadmap to healing. We follow the model of Jesus, where he heals mind, body, and spirit. Now, let me give you some real examples of some of the things that I've recently helped some of my clients with. The first one is, she was waiting to see if her husband would end things with his affair partner. And over time, she began to see that even though his words were, look, I'm 100% in, honey. All I want is you. Well, he continued to see the affair person. And she recently got herself a new place and she decided to have a brand new start. She's relieved to have made the decision and feels at peace with it. She was able to get the education and the healing that she needed to be able to find the strength, to find her voice, and to move on because her husband was truly lying to her, trying to have his cake and eat it too. I resonate with that one because that's exactly what it was like for me. My husband did the same thing. I also moved out. And by doing so, I was able to heal, recover, and I was one that didn't end in divorce, but we ended up in full reconciliation. I see both sides of the coin. Here's another. I have another client that has recently held herself back from showing any kind of affection to her husband. She's been so unsafe. And she has seen so much change in him and knows he's fully committed. Yet, because she's felt unsafe, she's afraid that if she shows any kind of affection, it'll be as if all is well. The affair didn't matter. His betrayal, well, that's kind of like saying, what you did to me is perfectly okay and I accept it. Well, I want you to know that after coaching with her, she decided that it was a courageous step, a bold move on her part to let him in, to actually start to watch, does his words match his actions? Are they one and the same? Is there fruit in keeping with repentance? And as she began to see this over the long haul, she began to offer trust in little increments, letting him in little by little. And over time, she began to emotionally connect once again with her husband, and they are on the road to recovery. But I've got one more. On a recent phone call, someone who was looking to get coaching on navigating the anger, the frustration, the bitterness that she was feeling because of his betrayal. She realized that the things that she was experiencing had been housed in her for so long that a DIY, a do-it-yourself kind of treatment plan was not going to work for her. that she needed someone who not only had walked the road, but had helped hundreds do the same and had a track record in it. Now, with our coaching, she was able to see that there were things she was holding on to, that she had stuffed down. She had trauma that had housed itself in her body and her brain, and she needed to release some of that. So I started helping her process all of that. And she recognized also that if she didn't find her voice once again, that if she didn't start speaking up for herself, that she would be consumed in the trauma and nothing would ever change. She recognized that if she didn't take her healing into her own hands and invest in her own coaching, that her life would stay the same. And she did just that. She invested, and now she is recovering and she's enjoying her life again. And there are so many other stories that I could share with you. So I've got a question for you. Are there things that you continue to get stuck on? Are you on that hamster wheel of trauma and you are dealing with triggers, ruminating thoughts, flashbacks, nightmares? You find yourself not being able to enjoy life. All you can think about is him and his recovery, controlling his every move. And you are just overwhelmed by it all. Decisions you can't seem to make, let alone fully commit to, are overtaking you. Do you feel isolated and alone on your journey? Are you dealing with shame and frustration and anger and bitterness and unforgiveness? Well, beautiful, I want to invite you to kind of leave that behind. I want to invite you to a webinar that is free on September the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where you can discover the exact roadmap to recovery, God's way, that he gave me when I was walking through my own betrayal journey, that I now take hundreds of women through. And just like you, they are receiving their healing. This translates over into couple work. And I'm seeing also many couples restore their relationships as well. It can be the exact thing that you've been praying for, but how will you know if you don't attend? This is an interactive workshop. It's going to be a great one together, September the 18th to 7 p.m. So make sure to grab your spot because it is limited. Listen, beautiful, you're not meant to do life alone. You can get your own coaching the right way, and you can listen in as I share with you about this roadmap, answer your questions, and help you make the decision what is right for you. So go ahead and secure your spot while you can, and I can't wait to see you on September the 18th at 7 p.m. See you there, beautiful.